That's the front cover. Basically, kind of starts with what price can you place on your health. And as I'm going through this, I'm not really going to do it as a presentation per se. I can talk a little bit how we anticipate it being used and how we've used it. So, we'll just kind of do that just this morning and make it a pretty simple, quick, easy call. This was basically designed as a great piece to sit down with that one-on-one with somebody, or with small groups at your home, or in an office, or wherever you might meet with a couple people at a time, to where you can just use it as a handout. It's also great to leave behind after you meet with somebody, so they can look at it a little more in depth. So what we do here is we're looking at these four major principles that we talk about in the self-care awakening, which really is our body burden, environmental toxicity, dehydration, sleep deficiency, and weight matters. And we focus on excess sugar consumption there. Now, these are topics that we all know about. They're areas of concern for everybody, but when we're talking to people out there, they really don't pay much attention to it. It's like they don't pay much attention to how much water they're drinking each day. They don't think they have a lot of solutions when it comes to environmental toxicity. Often we sacrifice sleep for other activities during the day. And weight matters, we really focus on excess sugar consumption, and basically many, many foods that we wouldn't even anticipate containing sugar, and how all four of these areas affect our health in a positive way or in a negative way. So that's really the focus of self-care. And basically we list all these different things. We talk about it. The front part of the article in the magazine here talks about why, the impetus for creating this program and the magazine. Then we start talking about really what's the status of health, and we're using information here that's pretty much United States information, but it is also very applicable globally. If we look at the biggest problem we have with health on this planet, it's chronic disease. It accounts for nearly 70% of deaths. And if we look at the incidence of that in developed countries, it's very similar to here in the US. We talk about how we treat and manage these problems. So, 4.3 billion prescriptions filled in the US each year. And why? Why is that? And what maybe can we do about that? And as I just flip through the magazine here, then we get into each of the major subjects. So, here we're talking about environmental toxicity, the body burden. We have a nice graphic there that Heather designed from the environmental working group study that tested the umbilical cord blood of newborn infants. And then we talk about dehydration and how that can affect our health. Many of us drink everything but water. Question mark, question mark, question mark. um, and when you start asking people how much water they drink a day, and even people that think they drink enough or adequate amounts of water usually aren't. And that's where we come up with this figure that 75% of us walk around with chronic dehydration every day, and what the health ramifications of that can be. I do this just about every time I'm speaking at a luncheon, an event. A lot of times I do it at weekend events too. Uh, and let's say I have a group of 40, 50 people in the audience. And I just did this recently at a network luncheon. And I was doing a presentation on self care. And I asked the audience, let's say there's 40 people there. I said, how many of you think you drink enough water each day? And you'll get, maybe a third to half of the hands go up. And then I'll say, well, how many of you are actually drinking half your body weight in ounces of water per day? and the hands drop, right? Or at least 10 cups a day. So the figure there of 75%, at least in my sampling at these luncheons, is a very low one. I'd say it's higher than to 90 or 95% really aren't drinking enough water each day. And a lot of times people think they can get water from other sources, of which we can, but many times that's dehydrating rather than hydrating us. So the other interesting thing is that these topics are pretty much universal. They're a universal point for conversation. Water, sleep, environmental toxicity, and weight issues. And pretty much you can have a conversation with just about anybody on any of those subjects, or at least on one or two of them. So it's something that people are, and once we start talking with them, it's a very nice casual conversation. So then we talk about sleep deficiency. So this magazine's 12 pages. It's including the cover and the back. And then we talk about weight matters, and especially about excess sugar and what people can do to decrease their addiction to sugar and their consumption of sugar. Usually when I'm telling people, and it's in here, that our average consumption of sugar per person in this country in 1822 is 9 grams a day, and it's currently 152 grams a day. They're astounded. And then they start to think, well, gosh, what am I eating every day that has sugar in it that I'm not even aware that's there? So we're creating an awareness here and an awakening, and then we'll start giving them some solutions. So the next 2 pages really have, we talk about why, as self-care advocates, that we recommend Nikan active wellness products and technologies, because we have solutions for that. And when we were putting this magazine together, it was really difficult for me to not expound on the product and technologies. I kept it to a minimum, and the reason I kept it to a minimum is so that that consultant showing somebody you're going through this magazine with them had the opportunity to express their own views, their own have their own input as far as the product and technologies went. And of course, we have our personal web pages that help us do that as well, and lots of other tools. So I purposely kept this just kind of wide open for people to have those conversations. They can also utilize some of the other videos that we have online. Weight matters, sleep matters, water matters, for people to get more information and more solutions. And then we give them some choices. And again, this is really, pretty much what I said is what this verbiage says here, as far as why we recommend Nikan products and technologies. And then we have the back page. I had a one-on-one with oh gosh, I think she's been in the nursing field, and she's like one of the top nurses at one of the local hospitals down here in Stockton, California. And I since I don't have a hard copy of the magazine yet, since it's so brand new, that I used the PDF. So I printed it. So we've put that up online too, that people can make a print of this if they want. But the quality's not near as nice as it is if you get the hard, magazine, glossy, slick looking piece of information. Uh, but I was sitting there showing this to this gal, and with, let's say, 30 years of nursing experience, and she loved it. She absolutely loved it, and she said, "Wow, you've really, really hit the nail on the head here. I mean, these are things that are important, that are vital for our health, regardless of what stage of health we're in, but we don't pay enough attention." And when we got to this last page, she went, "Wow, That's exactly why we fill 4.3 billion prescriptions a year, right? And I said, that's, you hit the nail on the head. And then she looked at me and she said this, Dave. She said, I am so sick of this. I am so sick of our sick care system that, and with a lot of frustration and a lot of, emotion in her voice too. So I guess what I'm trying to say here by telling that story is, you know, there's lots of reasons why people will join our business, and one is for some financial relief, success, some freedom, and the heart feeling about it, and also for more balance in their lives. But people will join a cause too, and for me, I don't call "be healthy by choice, not by chance" a slogan or a phrase. I call it our battle cry, because if there was ever a time for a health revolution here, this is the time. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. And we really need to wake people up and say, hey, there's better ways to prevent, there's better ways to um, help improve your health other than treating and managing a preventable disease. When we look at the biggest health problems we have, 80% of them are preventable if people did some pretty simple things. Um,
I love this too. Is may you never know what you're preventing, and this is
sure.
stuff that you can use as a pre-treatment, and that's really exciting. And the meeting that we had at Troy's house last night, there was an occupational therapist who attended, and he just got so excited, and pretty much the conversation was identical to the nurse that you were talking about. Just really frustrated with the modern system and drugs and all of the, you take one drug and you get several problems, and not to worry, because we have something to give you that'll treat that symptom, and oh wait, we got another problem, and layering, and visit any pharmacist and they can tell you that story. But
Oh yeah.
I got Troy here. If you haven't heard his story, and of course there's a lot of things out there. If you how about can kind of reduce it down to 2 minutes? You got in a really bad wreck, almost lost your arm. They put it back on with all pretty much all titanium. Your treatment was heavy duty drugs. What did DKN do for you?
You just told it under 2 minutes. Good job.
Okay, Troy.
And he did it in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's great. Done. Man.
So
Class over.
Okay, so DKN came along, and what happened?
Gave me my life back. They've been trying. I have a prosthetic shoulder and a prosthetic wrist. I couldn't use this arm for 4.5 years. It was a work comp deal. They want you to do the minimal amount each time. That's what they had the surgeon do. So they did 5 surgeries on my shoulder, and because of so many surgeries, the scar tissue adhered itself to the prosthetic and pulled it over 1 inch out of line. And the pain was just astronomical. They were giving me multiple injections every other week to try to break up this scar tissue. They said it'd be 6 weeks max. Well, 8.5 months later, nothing happening, and I'm on insurmountable amount of pain pill. I'm like, this isn't working, guys. What are my options? And they said, well, when you can't stand the pain anymore, we're going to open you back up. We'll cut out all the scar tissue, start from ground zero, but you'll never have full use of your arm again. That's just the lot I've been dealt. And I was introduced to Nican. I was at the point where I don't care what it is, I mean, snake oil, whatever. I mean, whatever will work. And in an hour and a half, some of the technologies, I had over 80% mobility of this arm. And it blew my mind. I don't take pain meds anymore. I don't, I went every Wednesday for injections. I never went back. I canceled my appointment. I've never been back. So I know it works.
Yeah.
We did in an hour and a half what they couldn't do in 8.5 months.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. It's amazing when we provide our bodies with things that it needs of what it can do. And that's, you know, I always tell people, they always say, well, how does this work? I said, the bottom line, that's it. You know, whether it's a product or a technology or whatever we have, it's something our body needs. And then it's going to help it to do what it wants to do, which is repair itself or improve itself.
Ultimately, the body is wanting to get better if it just has
Right.
what it needs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
optimizing the environment and not just water, but the best water, optimized sleep. Yeah, we got some awesome stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I was
like what you
pretty.
say. It's a mission. It's a cause.
It is, yeah. And I could definitely see that in the ladies, the nurses' eyes and her actions that when we were talking the other day. So uh, we're scheduled to get back together when I get back from Salt Lake. So you know, she's she's seen it all, you know, and we have many people from the health professions in NECAN that I think a lot of times that was their main impetus, if you will, to join the cause and to become part of NECAN. So there's lots of different reasons why we might um, pick up the banner here and run with it. So it's Heather's and I hope that at least this magazine will help people, you know, give the information, give some good information to people, and get them excited and help others. You know.
Well, it's a wonderful tool because you've said it so well, and then all you have to do is call people up and say, hey, our company has a new tool that explains just some really powerful non-medical ideas to just be optimally healthy. Can I drop one by and show you? And I got a couple of things I'd like to demo. Is there sometime you'd have 15 minutes and would really love to see what you think about it. And then just read this yourself several times, get the words in so they're your own. And but they're watching you kind of thumb through that, saying those really good words and then leaving it with them and then following up. I think this is what a lot of people are looking for. And so
Another good example, I got my Summit haircut yesterday, and while the gal was cutting my hair, we were chatting, and if I'd had a magazine, I'd have left it with her. So yeah, it was pretty exciting yesterday. I guess Laura called me up to talk about the agenda for the summit, and she says we're pretty much sold out of the first run of the magazine. So yeah.
Yeah, we got another order coming in. So
okay.
Yeah, well, Gary.
So that's, I find that very exciting. So
it is. There's nothing like information, and that's what our job is to inform people, let them know there's a better way. So, wow. Hey, Dr. Gary, I'm glad you're on our team. And everyone, let's not keep this a secret.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
So everybody, you can go to the YouTube channel. It's a great little short video, and it's tough for me to make a short video, so I'm a little proud of that too. It's a little over 10 minutes long, and it actually goes through, uses the same graphics that we have on the magazine there. And, you know, I thought that'd be a great idea to have an accompanying video to go with the printed material too.
Okay, one more time. So you go open up YouTube and then you type in
Self-Care Awakening.
All right.
And you ought to be able to find it. The other things that we're working on is we're working on shorter, cleaner videos like the one we just produced for the magazine on sleep matters, water matters, weight matters, and we're going to do one on the body burden as well. So
fantastic.
We'll start getting busy on those after Summit. So,
it's a good time to be in the business, and
it's a great time.
All right. Okay. Hey, well, thanks so much. I appreciate this.